When we're writing academically, we want to have a beautiful amount of information in there. Now, one of the best ways of making our information really credible and persuasive is backing it up with examples, backing it up with information that has been peer tested, peer reviewed, accepted. Um, this is the whole world of citations. This is why we're doing it because we could say, and I've seen this actually in some academic reports that are that literally say like the world is burning. No, that's pretty intense to say, but like if we don't back it up with any sort of literature, like people are persuasive when they're reading a report. Their first thought, like naturally, is going to be like, well, how do you know this? Like, it's like what you got to tell me about this. So we are going into, yeah, this is why we use citations and this is why we're exploring this today. So we're going to be looking at in-text citations, reference lists, and bibliographies. We're going to be looking at structure and all of that goodness. When we write reports, we have different ways of putting information in there. So the first one that we have is quotations. So you might be writing your report and you might just literally be quoting the author. Like literally what you're doing is you're copying and pasting the words that they've written and putting it in your report. This is one of the first ways that you can increase the credibility. You can just literally direct quote an author. Now, the thing why overquoting and using too many quotations is actually a problem is it doesn't actually show your knowledge. Like part of the joy in academic writing is like taking a bit of here, a bit of information here, a bit of information here, and then like mixing it all together into like this beautiful menagerie of porridge. I need to work on my analogies, God. Anyways, so now the next we have is paraphrasing. So literally you take information from your source and then you reiterate what they're saying. You, yeah, make the language more concise. So you make it like equal or shorter length. Now, paraphrasing is really cool because it is completely rewriting. This is your own words, but still a citation is needed, even if you paraphrase because you're borrowing ideas. Now, the next one that we have is summarizing. This is putting the main ideas in a passage, etc., etc. This is, putting the study into your own words. So summaries are significantly shorter than the original because they are limited only to the main ideas. Now, this is tough because sometimes, the longer passages have, these really intricate ideas, etc. So just make sure that you're not changing or distorting the original meaning of the work. Now, when it comes to academic writing, I'm definitely going to push you guys into using the paraphrasing and the summarizing more so, especially when you come with paraphrasing because you can mix in different ideas. So once you have these, the different types of citations, how do you actually do it? So we're going to go to Owl Purdue because they have a beautiful website that is up to date and it is all about APA, the 7th edition. So literally, I'm just going to walk through this website with you guys. I am on the owl.purdue.edu website and I'm going to in-text citations and the basics. Now, remember when we talked about, remember like a minute ago, we talked about paraphrasing, summarizing, and actually quotations. This does change how you put in your in-text citations for APA. So remember, you have this beautiful work and you want to give credit to the author. This is really important. Otherwise, if you don't do this, this is plagiarism and then you fail and are expelled and you earn your place in hell. Kidding. So when it comes to writing and giving credit to the authors, let's talk about quotations and giving their credits. Yeah, giving credit in your text, get it in text citation. Let's talk about quotations first because they're different than the summary and the paraphrasing. So short quotations are different because they always include this P or this page number. Now this is very different from the other types of referencing that you have to do because there's just this additional page number. Now the majority of academic articles, actually all of them, will include this last name and then the year, close bracket, boom. But with quotations, you have to add a page number here. And this is only for direct quotation. So you'll see that this author is using quotation marks to directly quote, and then boom, da-da. So what you should be doing when you have this direct quotations is always putting the in-text citation at the end of the quotation. So you'll see she stated students often have difficulty using APA style, and then here's the citation, comma, but she did not offer an explanation why. Cool. Now you can also play around with how you do your in-text citations. Very cool. Okay, it's not cool that I'm lying to you. It's, well, actually, yeah, I think it could be cool. Anywho, so what you'll see is that the author can take the last name out of this quotations and then reference them here. So Jones in bracket 1998. You always want to keep the year of the citation. Found that students often had difficulties using APA style, and then the page number, and then a semicolon. Cool. According to Jones, 1988. Da, 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 da. So also too, you'll see when you're using direct quotations, when you have a last name of an author, this is just APA wide. If you have a last name of an author, and you reference it like this, like according to Jones, da, 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 you will always be putting the year of the published work afterwards. Now it is different because, you know, with quotations, you have to add this page number. So do it like this. Amazing. Now, if you have a long quotation, and please don't do this, especially for short academic reports, because essentially sometimes, okay, direct quotations, they have their time and place, but with long quotations in a paper that's like 1,000 words or less, like it just kind of signals to me personally, like I'm just going to talk about what somebody else wrote because I don't really have the comprehension of talking about it from my own knowledge base. You know what I mean? Oh God. I'm doing this apple cider vinegar cleanse. Oh. Okay, anyways, moving on. So if your direct quotation is 40 words or longer, you need to put it in a block. So here's a perfect example. They say, da 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 da, Jones study found the following, and then there's actually no quotation marks. Interesting, hey? So if you have, it's just, yeah. Short quotation, use quotation marks. Like so. Long quotations, it gets its own indentation block. So copy and paste that quotation in there and then press tab. So you should indent it so it looks exactly like this. Students often da 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 da. That's also interesting with long quotations. How you signal that the quotation is over is that you put the page number after the period. This is the only time that you'll do this. So you'll see that if you use a short quotation, the page number reference is always before the period to signal the end of the closure of a sentence. Whereas with a long quote, so 40 words or longer, you will put the page number after the period to signal the end of the quotation. And now just one shout out to the German and Dutch speaking students. The quotations, one will be there will be a bottom and a top. And with English, there always needs to be two tops. There's a joke in here, but I'm not going to make it. Now, let's go to, if you're paraphrasing or summarizing, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be writing in your own words. So the page numbers is not necessary. So all that you have to do is just provide the author's last names and then the date after you write something. You'll also notice, you'll see you can write it two different ways. You can talk about the researchers, research by Wagner and Petty, brackets, date, supports, da, 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 or you can write in your evidence, etc. And then at the end of your sentence, brackets, Wagner and Petty, 1994. If you're watching and paying hawk-eye attention, you'll notice that there is a difference between an and an ampersand and. Take note of this because this is something that does trip up people sometimes. But if you have authors and you have two authors, you use the ampersand, this fun little thing, if it's inside the brackets. If it's outside of the brackets, actually write out the word and. And I tell you what, there is also two things when it comes to work by 3 or more authors. This is a new APA 7th edition thing that if you have 3 or more authors, use et al. Period. So in brackets, Kernis et al. Period, comma's important, 1993, or Kernis et al. Period, 1993, suggest, da, 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 da. If it's Jones et al. 2020 and Jones et al. 2020, the reader will be confused about which citation that you're referring to. So if you have the same first name in an et al. Or 3 or more authors starting with the first same name, write them out fully. So Jones Smith da, 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 and Kim, or Jones Smith da, 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 da. You can also cite it in brackets with 3 authors: Jones Smith, Louis et al. Jones Smith, Ruiz et al. Cool. Cool. You might also run into the issue if there is an author that is unknown. Dun, 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 dun. And you'll find that actually a lot. If you're looking at web pages and you're citing web pages, you'll find this quite frequently. So if you don't have the author, or the author is unknown. So here again, if the work does not have an author, cite the source by its title in the signal phrase, or use the first word or 2 in the parentheses. Titles of books and reports are italicized. Web pages are in quotation marks. If the organization is an author, some of you I've seen have citations that come from an organization. You can cite the organization. So, for example, the American Psychological Association 2000. Da, 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 da. Or you can, if the organization has an abbreviation, you can spell out the first, spell it out, but indicate the full name and then use the abbreviation going forward. Now, also exciting, you're summarizing. You are putting together all this beautiful information, and one of the things that is very exciting as a reader is when I see that you have combined different sources to synthesize and create something new. You have a sentence that has information from 2 sources. Put it in the same brackets and then separate the citations with a semicolon. So you'll see blah, 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 Barnes 2002, semicolon, Harlow, comma, 1983. Cool. If you have works cited by the same author, you can use commas to indicate the different years of their publications. If you come across with authors with the same last name, easy peasy, just put their initial. E. Johnson, 2001, and L. Johnson, 1998. Look at how it's separated with that semicolon again. Beautiful. You have the same author in the same year. This happens. All you have to do is just put A, so research by Barnes, 1981. A revealed, however, he conducted a parallel study, also 1981. So Barnes, 1981. B. Cool. So we've talked about in-text citation. Hopefully you see that it is, it's okay. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the references list and the different types of references that you'll be putting in your references list / bibliography. I combine the 2 as kind of synonymous, references and bibliography. For these, for the purpose of this program, these can be considered the same. And if you write references list or bibliography, it's okay. Now, let's get to it. The basic rules of this reference list is that, these always come at the end of a paper. So you will see in, for example, this paper, you will see that this student has all these beautiful in-text citations. And then again, we have some more. And at the very end, the references list or the annotated bibliography is the place in which you indicate and give full credit to this author. So where did it actually come from? Look at this beautiful reference. I love it. Amazing. Some of the most basic rules about this, you'll notice that it swaps. So in in-text citations, you'll put a last name, and in a bibliography, we'll be putting in the last name, but then a comma, and then the first initials of this person's name. So this is one of the things. A new rule of APA is if there is 20 authors, we give all full 20 authors credit. Oh, God. So in APA number 6, we only had to spell out 6 authors. And if there was more than 6 authors, then we'd use et al. Or we'd actually use like an ellipsis and then indicate the last author. With APA number 7, if you come into a paper, if you come across a paper that has 20 authors, whoa, well, whatever. I will refrain my judgment. You can see clearly that you separate each authors, and then you just separate it with commas, use an at and use an ampersand before the author's last name. If there's more than 21 authors, then you can use this ellipsis. And oh gosh, okay. So the basic rules for this, when you do your references list in academic journals, is present the journal titles in full, italicize the journal title. This is different from the paper title, the title of the paper. We're talking about the journal title. Maintain any non-standard punctualization. So, for example, if a organization has intentional capitalization, keep that intentional capitalization instead of, if it's intentional, keep this capitalization. Capitalize all major words in the titles of journals. This is different, and this is not the same as the title of an article. In the title of an article, only capitalize the first word of a title and subtitles of the journal article. So we will see, okay, so here we go. Here's an example of it done correctly. Here is the title of the title of the paper, and you'll see that the first letter is capitalized, exploring, blah, 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 blah. And then you'll see that the journal itself has capitalizations of each of the important words. And by important, I mean major words. So the, like these articles, etc., aren't important. So just leave those not capitalized. Do not italicize or underline the article title. We will see that this is not, there is no italics, there's none of this, and there's none of this. So it is just bam, boom, like that. Okay, so when we start to write with single authors, of course, we want to have the last name. We want to have the first initial of their first name, and then a period, and then we'll move on to the year that it was published, 2013. And then this is the title of the book. This is different than a journal article, so we italicize the title of a book. Cool. With two authors, we have, again, the last name of the author, and then the initials, and then we have a comma and an ampersand to denote a different author. So here's John, OP. Cool. 3 to 20 authors. Pwah! Put them all out. You'll see. And you'll see that this ampersand comes in between. This denotes the last author. So we have the second last author here, Miel, DB, period, comma, and then the ampersand sign denotes the last author, Fujita, K, and then the year, then, for example, the title of the article, and then the italicized title of the journal. So this is the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. This gets italicized, and of course, the title of the article is just left alone like this.
Also, too, it's nice to note that when we are using journals, and we'll get into this more, that the volume of the journal, etc., is italicized as well. The page numbers in this journal is not. And then, of course, we have our lovely DOI, and we'll get to that later. More than 20 authors, we see this Kraken, Cthulhu sort of monstrosity coming out of the ocean. We separate it again, like before, with an ellipsis. So an ellipsis are those 3 dots. So just press the dot on your keyboard, 1, 2, 3, and it will use this. Groovy. Okay. Group authors. If you have a dictionary, put in the group. Awesome. The Bureau of, bam. There you go. Just cite, instead of the last name, cite in the organization.
Okay, now part of the fun references list are the different, when we do a references list, you'll see that referencing a journal is different than a book versus a website. So we are going to be talking about that right now. On the OWL Purdue website, you will see that the basic form is the author. For journal articles, it's author, 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 year, title of the article, title of the periodical. And notice that this is in italics. Notice that the major words are capitalized, whereas the title of the article, nothing is in italics, nothing's underlined, and the major words, only the beginning word is capitalized here. Then, of course, we have the volume number is also to italicize. The issue number is not, the pages are not, and then it's followed by a DOI. So you'll notice the DOI. Let's just quickly pull up a can't speak. Let's pull up a journal and see where you can find a DOI. I'm going to move cats out of here. Okay, let's try this one. Come on, DOI. Show me so I can demonstrate this example. Thank you, Lord. So you'll see that here is a DOI. You just want to copy and paste this DOI and then put it right after this. So please don't copy and paste the hyperlink in. That's not in APA format. And another reason why is because this hyperlink might change one day. However, the DOI will never change. This is a lot more credible, and this is like where it's like really at. This hyperlink could change one day. Science Direct might change its namesake, who knows, one day, and then we won't be able to find this resource. So please always put in the DOI. If there's not a DOI, don't worry about it. Here we go. APA 7 advises writers to include a DOI if available. So if it's not available, we assume that there's no DOI. Cool. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about books, baby. Let's talk about books. So books are a little bit different than a scientific journal. If you have a book, you will publish the author. It's kind of similar. First initial. If there's only one initial, only have one initial. Year publication. And then the title of the work is in italics. Different, right? So this is very easy. When we can scan a references list, we can easily differentiate what's a book and what is a journal article. Capital letter also for a subtitle if there is a subtitle to this book, and then the publisher and then the name. For example, Stone Minar, 2008, Alexander the Great, A Life in Legend, Yale University Press. Boom. Cool. What if there's no author? Oh my gosh. So, what you put here is the name of the editor of the book. So the editor, initial, edition, year of publication, title of the work. So there you go. So editors' names, the edition, 2019, a new companion to Mallory, and then the publisher. Guys, yeah, I am getting tired. Edited book with author. Oh, God. As you can see, there's more things for books. Like we have like, you just go to the owl.purdue.edu website and you'll see like if your book is a translation, do it like that. Edition other than the first. Yeah. So there's a lot of fun information here. Isn't learning so fun? There's also some other print sources. Bam. This is what you got to know. Now, electronic sources, this is the interesting one because you'll obviously find a lot of stuff from websites. So last name of the author, year, month, date. Now this is interesting. This is more information. So when we're scanning it, we can see that it's a website, and we can also see website because we'll see the URL at the end. But anyways, I digress. We put the title page in italics, the site name. So we, for example, Price in 2018, March 23rd, posted laziness does not exist. Come to my apartment, you'll see otherwise. And then the site name, it was posted on Medium. And here is the URL. Cool party. If it is an organization and not a person, cite the organization. Bam. If the page's author does not exist, type in the put in the title instead. So let's say that Price, we didn't have access to this information. We would just put laziness does not exist and move it to where the name would be. So you'll see Tuscan white bean pasta, and then the date of publication, published on Budget Bytes, and then they're retrieved from, online information that doesn't have a specific author may change. So it might be like a Wikipedia page. This changes over time. You know, they might update their Tuscan white bean pasta to put in some ylang. I don't know. Anyway, so this is why it's important to put it in the retrieved by. You know, we might want to use the Internet Archive machine to see the specific information at a certain time. But yeah, no author websites are prone to changing. So put in the retrieval date. If there is an author, don't put in a retrieval date. Okay. So author of a web page, no retrieval date, no author exists, put in that retrieved date. Bam. Cool. If this data publication is not listed, forget about it. So put in no date. National Alliance of Mental Illness, no date, mental health conditions, blah, URL. Cool. Wikipedia. So APA 7 wants to distinguish APA 7 wants to distinguish Wikipedia as special entries in reference works. And I think the reason why is because with Wikipedia, if you have enough credibility, you can go in and edit things. So, sometimes people might go in and edit a publication to suit their own interests, which is very unethical and shady. Don't do it. So what you'll see now is Wikipedia has its own thing. It has the title of the article, the year, month, date in Wikipedia, and then the URL of the archived version of the page. So if you go to Wikipedia, yeah, Shania Twain. God, she's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so back on track. Just when you're citing a Wikipedia page, move your mouse cursor to this view history, click it, and then this is going to be the website, the hyperlink that you choose. Who is updating it in June? Cool. And a man of mine. Okay. So if I'm citing Shania Twain now, I'll click on this hyperlink, and then that archived version is there. I'll copy and paste it. Groovy, right? Because if you click on this, it just shows Shania Twain. Very important. Very cool. Yeah. Electronic Kindle, thesis. Yeah. Data sets, email, tweets. Even a tweet. Okay, yeah. Somebody was asking, like, but can I cite? Yeah, like a YouTube video or something. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Of course. Look at this. They even have for Twitter. I love it. At username. Cool. Facebook post. I don't. Facebook. God, I need to delete that. Instagram. You can. Yeah. So. If you want to cite Instagram and go for that, like really go for that, cite that stuff. YouTube. Here we go. Bam. So of course we would be wanting to put in the last name and date if we're doing this in-text citation. But here, look. Owl podcast episode. Amazing. So cool. So that is that for the reference list. Now, when you have a reference list all together, you will have something looking a little bit like this. Ooh, and you'll see it's the references list is also in alphabetical order. Groovy. Cool. So I just found this in this APA sample paper. Look at it. Party. Amazing. So you'll be noticing that an annotation does not happen in this references list. But why that? Good question. So the annotation is not as per APA, but this is something that I would like to see for you, yes, you listening personally to do, because it's a nice demonstration of seeing your understanding of the source. So please, in order to get this component correct for your TCR paper, please annotate and tell us a bit about the paper in 40 words or less. This paper, okay, so this paper documents the attitudes of undergraduate university students towards environmentally conscious foods and analyzes their thoughts and behaviors towards sustainability. That's it. So just, this is basically like a tweet. Tweet the abstract of your source. I wish you could find that. It'd be even better. Now, one of the last stops in our beautiful, wonderful APA journey is, of course, the structure. We can't go anywhere without the structure. So we have looked at title pages. Title pages, I have given you a small video about, and APA 7 actually has something very interesting to note. They include page numbers here. So if you want to be completely APA proof, disregard what I said about not including your page number in your title page and include that page number in your title page. Well, I think it's personally less professional, but whatever. It's not about what I think. So here you have the title of the title page, branching paths. Ooh, isn't that a sizzler? So they have kind of the sizzler, branching paths, and then the full explanation of the report. So colon, a novel teacher evaluation method for faculty development. God, that sounds really boring. So when it comes to title pages, I have learned something new today. Yes, squad. Laganja? Anyone? Oh, I'm so lonely. When you look at a student's paper, notice that there's no running head. I lied to I gave you some false facts. So when you're handing in a student paper, no more running head, guys. Just have your title page, your page number on the top right here, and actually include it in the title page. Let me try and say that again. In your paper, there's no more running head in student papers. Not anymore. So just put in your page number on the top right, and this can be in the title page. Yeah. That's very interesting. I'm very sorry. Now, here you have the title, the names, the department, da 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 da. Cool. Party. Now, when it comes to actually, I want to open this again. When it comes to structuring your paper, you will notice certain things. Let's talk about structuring the paper in terms of headers. When it comes to headers, main headers like abstract, introduction, etc., are bold and centered. So let's go here to this student's work, the introduction here. You'll see it's not left aligned, it's centered headered here. And then we have made sure that it is bold. Cool. So to update this, I would remove this. Cool. Actually, if I was going to do it professionally with APA, I would definitely update this by formatting the page number. So it, of course, starts at 1 and that there is no different first page. Bam. There we go. Now it's updated to APA 7. Cool. You'll also see that the starting paragraphs, let's see, where is your introduction? You'll see that the starting should actually be indented here. So when you start any sort of new paragraph, make sure to press tab and indent. This denotes to the reader that you have different chunks of thought, like different subtopics of thought within your, within the topic that you're talking about. There's a lot of T's in there. So here we go. For example, here's their aspect 1. They start, paragraph and then a new paragraph, and they have put this indentation in here. Cool. So please get in the habit of that. That is important. You might have subcategories, a subheader. So if you have a subheader, you can put it in. So if you're, if you have a subcategory within your aspect 1, like, literally you're talking about willingness of the sit-ins and you say, you really want to denote a difference. You really want to separate the topics within this aspect, you can put in a subheader, or we call this, a header level 2. So the second level headers are bolded, left aligned, and the first headers are centered, aligned, and bolded. Okay. That's it. Is that it? Let's see. Some other main points that I want to see. This is not APA specific, but this is specific to this class. Where's my mouse? You will see that the research question is written in word for word. Please do this. Please state your research question explicitly. This is the same as your literature search questions 1 and 2. Please state this explicitly. So here the student has written, from this, the following research questions derive, and then to what extent, blah, 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 question mark. So they've explicitly stated the research question and their literature search question. Great. They've also centered their main header for their aspect 1. Great. Also, they conclude, and this is very important as well, when you are having chunks of information like an aspect and you're talking about one specific topic, always make sure to conclude this topic. So For TCR, please make sure that you are answering your literature search question in your concluding paragraph of this, of this aspect of this subsection. Overall, great. Moving right along, we have the second aspect. Good header structure. Indentation is here. It's clear. It's here. It's clear. And again, the student concludes their information in their ending paragraph. Now, their conclusion. In their conclusion, they ask the research question. They've reiterated it here. That's great. Please do this. And then they synthesize the information from the first and second literature search sections to arrive to an answer. Now, one important point about the conclusion is that it should have some form of implication. So we should arrive to some sort of like conclusion. So in conclusion, for this case, we recommend blah, 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 blah. When it comes to your final paper, you're going to be using the literature review to see what sorts of gaps need to be addressed by research. So any other academics that are watching this, the literature review or the theoretical framework, the intention of this whole literature review is to come to an ending in which you have questions that need to be solved with research. So for now, and for this class, you can arrive just to some theoretical communication implications or recommendations. But in your third year, you will be coming to questions, more questions that you want to research. Now, here's their annotated bibliography. And they have done it. There's some errors in here, but that's okay. If you're still freaking out about citations and you really have a brain fart, Google Scholar is definitely your friend. And you'll notice that when you look at a citation, if you see this quotation button, click it, and it usually has the citation written. Be careful because sometimes you'll see that there's no DOI here, but it's from 1989, so I'm not sure if there's a DOI. And you'll notice, sometimes there is issues. So there's no volume number, no issue number here. This one was done well. So this is a really handy trick just in case you are feeling stuck and need some inspiration as to how to correctly write this source. And then you just pop it in. Pop. Ooh, actually, I forgot one more thing. One more cool, amazing thing. I can't believe I forgot this. You'll notice with the references list that the references list is actually structured differently and kind of like special. And what it does is that the references list uses a special structure of indentation called hanging indentation. And it's really nice because what this does is this essentially helps you scan the references list quicker and pick out, if you need to look up it's quick for referencing your reference list. All you have to do, it's quite easy peasy to do, is just highlight your citation and then right click paragraph, and then you'll see this indentation. If you have it in a different language, it'll be a different language. And then under special, you will see hanging indentation. And that gives you a little preview here. That's so cute. Click OK. Bam. Boom. Of course, if you copy and paste from Google Scholar, make sure that it is in black, because oftentimes they do the formatting different, and you'll even notice that this is Arial and not Times New Roman. So just make sure that if you do anything copy and pasting Google Scholar wise, make sure that it is okay. Cool. Okay, lastly, in addition to the structure, one of the things to take note of is the font. So APA says, there's no specific APA font. Just choose a sans serif font. So the Calibri, that's I think the default in Word, or Arial, Lucidia Sans, or 12 point, Times New Roman, Georgia, etc. So use any of these and you're fine. Also, to keep in note that when it comes to your essays, APA likes you to have them double spaced. So what that means is we are going here and we have this spacing button, and double spaced is the 2. Groovy. Cool. Double space. And I think the reason why it's kind of nice is because you can really just like, if you have any sort of like editing, like old school, if you print it out, to write comments, it's easy. So double space, and then any sort of sans serif font, Times New Roman 12. Perfect. Amazing. Snap out of it. So lastly, if you are still being like, I need to learn by looking, just go to this OWL Purdue website and grab a copy of their APA sample student paper. I'll put this actually in the link, so you can just look at it. Just look at it. Amazing. Okay. Talk to you guys later. Have a what time? Oh my gosh, it's almost 6. Have a great day. Have a great evening. Bye for now.